Hey everybody. Hi, it's the Loon. Uh Please bear with me. I think for the next couple of months when I go live it's going to be a little awkward, just a little, just until I get this going and until we actually get people in the chats into the live and you guys come in. This today I do plan on going live every month on the 22nd as a buddy check. The reason for buddy check. I used to do buddy check on Facebook when I was on Facebook a lot. But let me make sure I'm not muted on the. Okay, good. First, let me see if I could do this so I could see both of them at the same time until, like I said, I get my other computer going. Good. Now I could see both. So we have another minute and then we'll get started. So come on in, have your cup of coffee, a glass of wine, crack open a beer if you want. If you're not drinking, if you're in sobriety, then have a cup of tea, water, soda, anything that you feel necessary. This is going to be a short one. These first couple of videos, especially the lives, are just going to be experimental until I get used to the format and I have my recording space together. But I feel that this is important enough to put out there. So, oops. And it is now 5:30. So, have a smoke if you're going to have a smoke. And let's check in and see how we're doing. In case you are unfamiliar with me, I am the Loon. This page, this channel is linked with my blog, which once I get the description together, hopefully shortly after this post, which will be, unless people come in, it's going to be only 30 minutes. So Buddy Check is the only live that I ever have to do. My channel, my page, although if you look at my earlier stuff, it was, but it's no longer political. I grew up in an age where your political choice is your political choice and you don't have to share it, nor should it be coerced, just so you are aware. All right, so give me one moment. This is coming up. There we go. So that's how I feel on that. Now, this is being recorded on October 22nd, 2024. So I understand that we are 2 weeks, probably less, exactly 2 weeks away from the national elections and tensions are high. This channel is basically geared towards city homesteading since I live in New York City and I am a veteran, although you can't tell with my locks. And the purpose of this channel is to help people with city homesteading, which is possible. Prepping, if you wish to do that, if you wish to call it that. I call it being prepared for anything. On occasion, every couple of years, New York gets hit with hurricanes, and on the heels of what's happened down south with Helene and Milton, and possibly more coming, it's very important to be prepared. But this is not what this life is about. Okay? This live is to check in on my veteran, and which you could be a veteran or you could be active duty brothers and sisters. Those that I have served with, those that served after me, and especially paying homage to those who have served before me and paved the way for us prior to. Now, buddy check is something that happened, I discovered a couple of years ago, and to combat every 22 minutes, I believe, a veteran commits suicide. So on the 22nd, a lot of us ex-soldiers, well, you're never an ex-soldier, but a lot of us veterans check in on our buddies that we've served with and those that we have come along the way since we've entered civilian life. So I actually found out by one of the YouTubers that you can link up YouTube and X at the same time and run it on the live. Now, X doesn't have necessarily a video option, but it has what they call spaces. So I'm a one-woman show at this point, till my boyfriend could come and help me along with this. But if you find it tedious to type during a live, that's fine. Run over to X if you have an X account. Join me in spaces. I am the Loon 50 at the Loon 50 because I created the channel when I was 50 years old. I am no longer 50. We won't talk about age right now. And you could voice your opinion and it could be like a forum. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because when I was at my down and out, I appreciated buddy check. No, my buddies did not wait till the 22nd to reach out to me, but they helped me move on. They gave me calls, which I'm horrible at, and they'll tell you that. They send me letters. We're coming up on Halloween, which one or two of my old buddies love Halloween. We love Halloween, so I got some roses around that time when it's like they knew. So little things like that, but sometimes we just go off the grid. There's a couple of my buddies that are off the grid that I wish I could reach out to. And who else to vent to than other fellow veterans? It's hard transitioning from when you grew up your adult life in the service and coming to the civilian world. I left the service in 99. And to tell you the truth, I still have to. A lot of people don't see me being ex-military because I'm very quiet. And I'm not quiet because I am shy, but I'm not quiet because I'm intimidated or anything like that. It's because I haven't yet defined that balance between what's acceptable in the civilian world. And only a veteran or ex-soldier would know. So let's get this out of the way. Simple rules if you come into my live. Also, if you catch this and you do want to leave a comment, which I'm going to check every now and then until next month on the 22nd. Oh, hold on a minute. Next month on the 22nd, I think we may have to skip that one only because I fear that is going to be, that's going to be a tough one. That's when I'm having my Thanksgiving. I'll see what I can do. That's going to be a very important one to me. So I might have buddy check on that one on Thanksgiving. Because I also understand a lot of veterans don't do the quote unquote family thing. So you may be sitting on Thanksgiving alone. So since I can't invite you over here because I live in a studio and my space is limited, we could have our Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. Instead of buddy check, I might call it Veterans Thanksgiving. If you run across this video and how you feel about that, let me know, and I will consider doing it on that day. Unfortunately, on the 22nd, well, fortunately, on the 22nd, I will be with my family. I might jump on a live. So they might leave a message for you guys. I'll bring my laptop and we'll see what we can do there. Maybe it'll be a new tradition for the loon. So my rules are simple. If you come on the live and you go on spaces, be courteous to everybody. No one's experience is the same, but yet they are. If you know, you know. Another thing, no political rants. Everybody has a right to support or to endorse any candidate they want. And that's all I'm going to leave at that. But if you have stresses due to it, it's okay to vent those, but try not to be political if you come on this live chat. Share your truth. How do I say this without being rude? Don't make up stories. People are going through hard times, and yes, and don't harp on those, but share your truth. If you have a problem, share the solutions or share your desires that you wish to come out of to have that light on the other side of the tunnel. And lastly, yeah, I actually hit that one. Try to find a solution and don't harp on the problem. Again, I want to reiterate that this is supposed to be an interaction for you to come on and find your truth, find camaraderie, share with fellow soldiers who've been or close to or will understand, even though they may not have been through your strifes. All right. Okay. So that being said, and last month I had nobody, so I'm filming this. So if you come across it down the line somewhere, it'll be helpful. And so I'm choosing a topic. And since I have no one here, I'm just going to say my topic for today is turning the way we think about things. Now, that's a very broad statement. It could be taken any other way, but I'm going to put it this way. As soldiers, we move as a unit, whether you get along with the person or not, whether it's culture differences, whether it's regional differences or ideology. The things that make us unique, and I think it makes us beautiful as veterans, as soldiers, as seamen, Marines, airmen, is that no matter what, we find a way through the differences to accomplish the mission. No matter what. It doesn't matter if you're from the city, it doesn't matter if you're from the South, it doesn't matter if you're from up in the hills. We find a way. And as I go along my journey here in New York City and I meet other veterans, I always love hearing the stories of, I met this person and this person taught me how to survive doing this. This person shared this. And that's what we do. And I think that's one of the problems we have when we leave the service is that we don't have that. How about this? Let me tell you a little bit about my background. I served in the U.S. Army for 8 years. I signed the papers when I was 17, but I actually joined and went into basic training at 18. My parents wouldn't sign it. I am a first generation American, so I was very proud to serve. At the time I joined, it was unheard of women in my parents' culture. I happen to be Haitian American. No, I happen to be American. My parents, I am of Haitian descent. That's better. And when I joined, way back when, I'm not going to say what year, um, in my parents' culture, it was unheard of for women to be in such a authority position. In '93, I did go back to Haiti with the military, and I learned real quick that I was privileged here in the US. More privileged than I realized. Women were not even police officers when I went back there. That was the year I turned 21. And it was a rude awakening for me. So fast forward, I got married in 99, got out of the service in 99. I know you don't have to tell me. That's the number one thing they tell you not to do. And we got thrusted into civilian life. I was maybe 25, 26 when that happened. And I am now 51 and still adjusting to civilian life. Hence why I walk around not talking as much, because I have to have a filter all the time, because how do I put this in a very nice way? People are very sensitive. So it's hard to gauge what's acceptable on this side of the fence than on the other, which I think is the hardest part for most people who leave. If you don't go into isolation or just go off the grid, or have a partner that understands your strife that you go through, or you go into law enforcement, which is what my ex-husband did. So it was hard adapting to going from a very structured, and that's what it is. It was very structured, a structured um, life. The housing was taken care of, food was taken care of, whether you were getting, you were able to make your own food, depending on, you got the food allowance, or you had the chow hall to go to. Expenses weren't as expensive. I don't know now, because I don't go to the PX. I don't go to the commissary. I don't have a car to go, so I'm stuck local. But these are things that we have to adapt to. We have to adapt to paying bills, to paying for electricity. Some places we have to pay for water. When I lived in Ohio, I had to pay for my own water. I pay for my own electricity now. Budgeting. So I say this all to say, we want the good old days. All of us want the good old days. But we have to change the way we think of it. Yes, they are the good old days. I'm never going to take that away. And I will not trade my experience that I had in the service for anything. I just won't. I can't. But we have to adapt. So we have to change the way we see things. Things aren't readily available, but they are. You just have to do the research. You have to have the want to go out there and do it. I had to change me and my ex-husband at the time had to change our way of thinking and our way of doing things and approaching things. And that's where you could avoid the pitfalls of depression, which does happen, whether you want to admit it or not. That's part of the changing your way of thinking, admitting that everybody gets blue, everyone gets depressed, especially now, especially after COVID. So that happens, that occurs. but you have to find it within yourself to want to make that change. What am I talking about? Well, let's see. When I got out, me and my ex-husband were denied welfare services. Long story, New York didn't provide it. So we spent a good amount of time with no insurance, no nothing. So we had to either sit there and boo-hoo, which we won't. You don't do that. We don't do that. But we went out and we found jobs. Job market's hit or miss nowadays. Everyone is holding off. So I'm going to speak to New York City only. New York City, there are plenty of organizations that help veterans, from housing to education to job placement. It's out there. And hopefully, when we start getting a group of veterans that come in here, we could network and we could find places. There are organizations that strictly help veterans. We can network for that too. But you have to change your mind. Before any of that comes into play, we have to change our mind to humble ourselves to be able to ask for help. So even if that means calling the veteran helpline, suicide helpline. These people are trained professionals and they're trained to help you talk. Not trained to help you talk. They're trained to help you figure out and get out of that hole that you're in if you happen to be in a hole. Now, once you change your mind, then there are things that Buddy Check turns out to be a catch up of all the wonderful things that you're going to. And one of the ways to go through that is before you start complaining, I always say go through a gratitude list. A gratitude list. Now, currently my life is not the best, but, and I can only share since this is a one-way conversation at this time, I am grateful. Yes, I did mention I'm in the studio, but I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I have a job. I'm gathering the means to catch up on my debt. I have an education. I was able to use my GI Bill to get a bachelor's degree. And I have opportunities. And that's one thing you have to understand is that you have opportunities sometimes in front of you. And if you just change your thinking, a door actually doesn't even fling open. You just realize a door has been open the whole time. So that being said, I have been here for 28 minutes. I only wanted to do this for 30 minutes as an introduction to all. I know this Buddy Check is being overshadowed by a lot of other live shows that other people want to watch that has more global issues, but the Buddy Check is not for the global. The Buddy Check is more for the individual. My brothers and sisters in arms, you are not forgotten. You are not left behind. Remember that. You are the light that shines in times of turmoil. You have always been that light, ever since, either in times of peace or in times of conflict. Remember that. And this Buddy Check is here to remind you of that and to reach a hand out to help lift you up. Just remember to be able to change your thought process while going down the road of this thing we call life. Don't mean to sound corny, but I do. And I don't know how I want to end this necessarily, but let me know if you want to join on Thanksgiving Day, or have me jump on the 22nd and have my family send you guys a special holiday message, because I know from experience that the holidays are usually the loneliest. And again, I want to reiterate, you are not forgotten. And I hope you guys are doing well. If you catch this video after I go off live, I'll drop a message. Drop a message. I'll try to respond, and set your calendar for the 21st or the 22nd of next month. And like I said, every month on the 22nd, except for November, because that's a little iffy. And I have a couple other videos that are being edited that will go up that will teach you about city homesteading, starting prepping if you want, and honing in on your skills. I hope to see you soon.